The Amber Room. Some may say the world's greatest lost treasure. Dubbed the eighth wonder of the world, the room that once symbolized peace was stolen by the Nazis and disappeared for good. Hey Wanderers! Welcome back to another Foolish Wanderers podcast, the podcast about anything and everything. Today, we're going to be talking about the mysterious Amber Room. But first, we're going to dive into some UFO sightings.
Cool. Very recent ones, too.
Yes, very recent.
And I think these ones hit, like mainstream sort of social media and stuff. But that's
I think both of them did.
Yeah. So this first one is the one that happened in Russia. So that was, Russia claims to have shot down a mysterious ball-shaped UFO.
Okay.
So, in the curious case out of Russia, an anti-aircraft defense system is said to have shot down a mysterious object that had been described as a ball-shaped UFO. So the strange incident reportedly occurred on Tuesday evening in the Rostov Oblast region, which is in the southern part of the country. So detailing the event on social media site Telegram, Mayor Vasily Golubev revealed that, quote, a small-sized object in the shape of a ball, end quote, had been observed flying over the village of Sultan Sala, and he explained that since it was apparently not something that belonged to the Russian military, quote, the decision was taken to liquidate it, end quote. So I like that. I think I'm going to start using the liquidate. I'm going to liquidate my old clothes.
Well, yeah, that makes sense to me, but liquidate a flying object? To me,
maybe, I don't know, maybe Russia has some sort of crazy futuristic technology they can liquidate things.
Maybe just a liquid gun.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe they have a liquidate gun, but they feed their Russian army with old expired rations.
Oh, ew.
Did you see that? It was months ago, but there were pictures on social media of Russian troops. They had expired rations, food, meals. It was expired. It was really old. Shockingly old.
I did see something, just a glimpse of it or something, but
yeah. Because I guess they're, who knows what information is true out of there, but from from out of Russia, but from what I've seen, it seems like their army is very ill-equipped or very out of date.
Compared to I don't know. See, at this moment I don't support Russia, so I'm kind of I don't know, I feel bad for the innocent people there that are just kind of sucked into this whole thing. Yeah, their fighting style is pretty behind, and there's one building where a bunch of Russian soldiers were sleeping in, I guess, and they launched a missile at it and killed most of the people in there. And then Russia was upset because they're well, it's because they were all on their phones and that's how they found them and that's why they were distracted. And I'm no, it's because you put all your troops in one building and then they found out.
So what, they blaming it the troops were watching what, Netflix on their phones?
Yeah, on TikTok.
Playing Angry Birds? Yeah. It's their fault they were on their phones watching Wednesday on Netflix.
Yeah, pretty much. They're they're distracted or they got pinged because they're on their phones. I don't know. But it's just it's just a tactic. You don't put all your troops in one building and not expect
a
something
sitting
to happen.
duck.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just but yeah. So the second UFO happened, I think, in December, actually, 2022. So apparently there's 3 or 4 flying orbs they saw flying over rural Wisconsin. And then they converged into one. It was odd.
Wait,
I can't find a lot on it anymore, but
the 3 became one.
They converged.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It was weird. I think for some reason I thought I sent you this, or we talked about this.
I think you did, but maybe I remember something. I remember it sounds familiar.
Okay, yeah. But for a bit, it took me a little bit to find this article or like anything about it again, so I'm like curious if they,
Wonder why.
yeah, if they deleted stuff or something happened, because like it took me a while to find it. So it started making me question if it even happened.
Oh,
But
that's a fun feeling.
oh, it's very fun. Okay, so I just found another article asking if so is it aliens or is it just Christmas lights? So, but they wouldn't be flying and converging like unless it was, you know, like what are those called? The big lights that they have like on the Luxor hotel or whatever.
Oh, like the spotlights?
Spotlights, there you go, yeah. Like unless it was something like that for I don't know, but in Wisconsin I don't think there's much.
In rural Wisconsin?
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of that happening.
I don't know what kind of cheese these people are eating that makes them see these things,
But yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, I guess they were kind of seen. I guess so. There's another report saying that several people reportedly witnessed bright, mysterious lights zipping all over the skies in rural Wisconsin.
That's just I want to see it. Like, why don't I see it?
Yeah. Oh, someone said there's 6 lights. Yeah.
Oh,
I
there's
don't
6 now. See, it's
know. I don't
like
know. There's multiples.
Mm.
There's just a few, and then they were super fast.
Okay.
I think, did I tell you? I can't remember if I think I cut this out of one of the past episodes, but one of my coworkers, he was telling me a while back of like when he was a few years ago, I think now, he was driving with his girlfriend in rural Iowa. They saw like a light, like a fast light, like faster than a jet could fly, like flying past them, and then they looked up and they could see a jet going after this light, and the light zipped away. And then the jets, like there was 2 jets, and so like once the light disappeared they like turned around or something like that. And it's just like when you see a mysterious light and then you see military jets, it's just kind of a dead giveaway in my opinion in rural anywhere. So yeah,
Time travel.
That dangerous, but yeah. All right, should we get into the Amber Room?
Yeah, we should. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be talking about the Amber Room today, and it's not a support group for Ambers. It is...
For some reason my head like went to like redheads for some reason, like Auburn. And I was like,
oh,
what?
Yeah.
This week? But
your head goes to like redheads like quite frequently, because when we did the Auburn Tree Killer episode, that's where you went, you're like, it's a school?
Yeah. I've heard of Auburn the school before.
But you were like, Auburn hair.
Yeah. My
people. Auburn people.
My people.
My people. Okay, so so we're gonna talk about the Amber Room. It's pretty cool. It's like it's a lost treasure, and like Katrina had said at the beginning of the episode, it was dubbed the 8th wonder of the world at one point. So, and it was stolen by the Nazis. So during World War II, we could do probably a separate episode on this as well, but the Nazis were rounding up all sorts of art that Hitler had deemed was like good art. Or like some of his or stuff that was his personal favorite. So they were rounding up all this stuff of art pieces, and they were shipping it back to Germany to eventually be put in Hitler's art museum. Yes, it is true. It sounds crazy, but Hitler did and was planning to build this huge art museum in Germany to show off like German power. So a lot of these works of art that he did steal were like from German origins, or had been in Germany, you know, before.
Okay, sure.
So
sure.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. They had that movie, it was called like Monuments Men. It had like George Clooney and John Goodman in there. That's a pretty good movie. Long. Yeah. Very long, very boring and dry for people that are not interested in art history, which I think is most of the world. But it's pretty cool. War on art, you know.
Isn't it still like a huge treasure hunt? Because a lot of the stuff is still missing.
Yes, there are quite a bit of paintings missing. I'm trying to think if I can remember one off the top of my head. Maybe there's a painting by like Raphael or something that's missing.
Maybe. Let me see. Yeah, they've been looking at like old Nazi bunkers and everything, trying to figure out where they hid this.
Creepy. Yeah.
I think, wasn't there like a lake that they found a bunch of like old Nazi jeeps or something pushed into? There was like crates that they thought maybe could contain some of this stuff. For some reason, I thought there was like a lake that a bunch of old Nazi, like, they hid a bunch of stuff in there just so like it wouldn't be taken by, you know, like US or whoever.
I mean, that sounds about right, but like they were doing. I mean, I can't say that that's true or not, but like that does sound right to me. Like,
Okay.
they did that with like salt, like mines and stuff. They would blow it up on purpose so that no one could get, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, if I can't have it, no one can, sort of thing.
Nope. Okay, so there's still 22 paintings, I guess. So it's not as many as I thought, but there's still quite a few.
So there's one by Raphael. Okay, that's the only one I could ever remember. There's a Vincent van Gogh one. Gustave Courbet, Gustav Klimt. Yep, who else? A lot of Klimt stuff. A Degas. Yeah, super sad.
There's a Rembrandt.
There's a Rembrandt.
There's a lot of religious things, which is interesting. Rubens. Okay, continue, please.
Okay. Well, Hitler, like, it doesn't really surprise me that it would be religious art, because religious art was art in like the same form that Hitler thought was good art. So he didn't like stuff that was abstract. He hated abstract art. In fact, the Nazis burned a lot of what he quoted, like he said, was bad art.
That's messed up. See, like, once you get hurt because you get kicked out of art school, doesn't mean you can destroy other people's art. Like,
yeah,
no.
And he was not good. If you look at his stuff, you're like, okay, somebody's been watching too much Bob Ross.
Before
not great. Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that a lot of religious art was saved or stolen by the Nazis, because that was deemed good art by Hitler. Okay, so yeah, let's get into this actually. Okay, so while many Americans associate amber with the casing for dinosaur DNA that was in 1993's Jurassic Park. So do you remember that old bald doctor, like his cane?
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, good movie, but do you remember his cane? The top of his cane was like that mosquito and amber. Yeah, so that's how I know it, and I think probably a lot of Americans know it. But amber has enthralled Europeans and especially Russians for centuries because of its golden, honey-colored, gem-like look, and it was also referred to as the gold of the North.
Isn't it actually kind of a rare substance to get?
Yes, we're kind of going to get into it a little bit. So, Baltic amber is what we're going to be talking about. So, Baltic amber is fossilized resin from Pinus succinifera. I do not know Latin, and not many people do, so that's how I'm going to say it. So, this tree grew in abundance throughout Scandinavia and Northern Europe more than 20 million years ago. The vast Baltic area deposits were formed when resin-bearing sediments flowed from Scandinavia to the Sambia Peninsula, transforming those resins over millions of years into amber. So, streams and rivers and glaciers carried large amounts of amber throughout Northern Europe as secondary deposits. The primary deposits of the southern Baltic region, particularly the Sambia Peninsula, where Kaliningrad, Russia, is situated. Kaliningrad, Russia, is the world's most prolific source of amber, and among the oldest gem deposits still sits in production. So while there are no ancient accounts of amber mining, most of the material was probably collected on beaches following storms, a method still used today by amateur collectors, which I kind of thought was neat because I don't know how you get amber, and it seems weird that you would just walk on the beach to try and find some.
Chunk of it.
Yeah. So amber objects and carvings dating back to prehistoric times have been found in Great Britain from 9000 BCE and in the southern Baltic region from 6000 BCE. So we've been using this and finding this thing for a very, very, very long time. And I had this little map up here that kind of shows you the region that has the most amber deposits in it. So kind of by touching Sweden and Poland and Russia and Lithuania and Latvia and Estonia. Sort of that region is what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I googled where to find like amber, like you said, on beaches, and it says it apparently washes up in large amounts in washed up seaweed. So it
That's
must like
cool.
catch it or something. I don't know. Interesting.
Isn't that cool?
It is cool.
That's so weird that it would just like wash up in like seaweed.
Yeah. I think for some reason I thought it'd be like something you have to dig up because like old trees,
That's what I was
or
thinking.
like pry open fossilized bark or petrified wood or something.
Yeah, like petrified wood.
Yeah.
Apparently
Interesting.
it's just swimming around in seaweed.
It's having a good old time.
Okay, so moving on. So upon his election to King of Prussia in 1701, yes, that is not Poland or Russia, but the old country of Prussia. I don't remember. Can you look up where Prussia was?
Yes, hold
I'm
on.
not confident in my answer.
It says Prussia was a German state on the southeast coast of the Baltic Sea. It formed the German Empire under Prussian rule when it united the German states in 1871.
Cool. Alright, so yes, we're talking about the King of Prussia, who is Frederick, decided to commemorate his rule by creating a room fully lined with amber in the Charlottenburg Palace in Berlin. So that room, he believed, would surpass the opulence of Louis the 14th, his palace at Versailles. So I think that's always weird, is they have to have like a, like a pissing contest to see who is like the better, like tea room or,
Yeah, it's an ego thing.
Yeah, it totally is an ego thing. Just power hungry. Yeah, it's just I still find it funny. We still do it today.
Oh yeah.
So Frederick, is it Friedrich? You think Friedrich? Maybe. I think it's Friedrich.
I couldn't tell you.
I bet that's how you say it.
Okay.
So Friedrich hired German Baroque sculptor Andreas Schulter to do this, and at the time, Schulter was the chief architect of the Prussian royal court, and the use of amber for interior decoration was kind of like his specialty. So okay. Schulter planned to adorn the walls of one of the rooms in the Charlottenburg Palace in Berlin with amber panels. The palace was home to Friedrich the first king of Prussia, and his wife Queen Sophie Charlotte. So Charlottenburg Palace was named after Queen Sophie Charlotte.
Okay.
So to complete the task, Schulter enlisted the help of Danish amber craftsman Gottfried Wolfram. That's a cool name.
Wolfram?
Yeah. To realize Schulter's ambitious dream, the pair had to create new ways of working with amber. It was heated and then dipped in an infusion of honey and linseed before being worked onto panels of wood covered in gold or silver leaf, and then decorated with precious jewels. So I thought it was also kind of neat that they used to have an amber craftsman.
Yeah, it'd be such a fun job. Stressful but fun.
Stressful but fun, but it's like probably rare because I don't think they have like go to like a school to learn this. You find like a random person to like teach you. Be like their Jedi Padawan.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1707, amber master Ernst Schaut and Gottfried Thurau from Danzig continued the work until the deaths of Sophie, Charlotte, and Friedrich. So this project went on forever and ever and ever. And Friedrich was kind of difficult to work with, so like he was firing people like left and right, and like the project would be moved on to other people. So yeah,
I can see it. He wants to have his grand room, and he wants to beat Louis, King Louis the 14th. So he's like, he wants to get it perfect. Yeah. So I guess the Gottfried and Andreas only lasted like a few years. Oh, man.
So in 1707, the Amber Masters, I'm going to call them that, they're from Danzig. They continued the work until the deaths of Sophie, Charlotte, and Friedrich. So the death of Friedrich I in 1713 brought his successor to the Prussian throne. So Friedrich William I, why can't they have different names? Why?
Again, it's like a pride thing. You gotta name your first son after you, and then you can move on.
It is so confusing.
It is.
Their
It is.
mailman must hate them. So Friedrich William the First disdained the extravagance the Amber Room represented and promptly ordered all work on it to stop. So he was like, I hate my dad and everything he stands for. My dad was never there for me. I'm gonna be anti-dad. You know, he was having that sort of phase of his life. Great. So yeah, so he just was like, stop it all, stop working, people I'm paying, get lost. So with all the materials packed up and deposited in the Berlin Armory. And I also read that he like didn't pay the Amber Masters. Like they were like, you still owe us money for all this work we did. And he was like, I'm anti-dad. You get no money. I hate this thing. I'm against the
Oh, that's really messed up.
Yeah, so there were a lot of people that were not paid, and they were just in Friedrich William the First was like shoving it in the armory.
Jeez.
Go home.
Sounds a little spoiled.
I mean, yeah, he's a prince. Okay, so the panels and carvings remained hidden in the Berlin Armory until 1716. So after a visit to the Prussian court by Tsar Peter I, Friedrich William I took the occasion to present the still unfinished panels to the Russian monarch in exchange for a company of 40 grenadier. So I was like, what's a grenadier? I'm like, grenadine? Like the, you know.
Just 40 bottles of it.
Yeah. So I looked it up. A grenadier was originally a specialist soldier who threw hand grenades in battle. That's all they did.
So he got 40 of them?
He just got 40.
So you have close hand combat. I didn't realize they had hand grenades back then.
I mean, they're not what you're picturing in your head when you think of grenade.
Okay.
I'm thinking literally just like a miniature cannonball, like a cannonball baby.
Why would you throw that? They have cannons for a reason.
I don't know, Katrina. These people were specialists, and apparently they were worth giving this, you know, priceless art piece away.
Jeez.
I should also note that Russia, remember how we talked about the Baltic amber, and a lot of it, most of it comes from that Russia sort of Baltic region.
Yeah.
So Tsar Peter I is from Russia, so, you know, this is, like, very valuable and, like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, of course you can have 40 grenadiers. I don't care.
He probably got a deal, honestly.
Yeah, of course he stole it. He was like, yeah, he's like, totally anti-dad. Yep, I support you. Yep. So, yep, so he just gives it away. So it was, the Amber Room was deconstructed and placed into large boxes and moved to the city Peter had just founded. So St. Petersburg. So he named it after himself.
Of course he did.
I also read that it took 6 months for it to just, like, get there.
Yeah.
Which is insane. There was no Amazon Prime 2-day shipping. I would have forgot that I had I bought it, you know? Like I would forget that I was. Yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a surprise. So in 1755, Peter's daughter, Empress Elizabeth, had the room relocated to the Catherine Palace in modern-day Pushkin, just outside of St. Petersburg. So, since this project was originally made for a palace in its own specific room, like custom made and everything, they had to bring in like several Russian, German, and Italian craftsmen to work on the room and, you know, add to it and make it bigger to make it fit their rooms.
I'm just surprised that they had so many specialists for this thing that, to me, it was like such a specialized thing, right? Like a regional thing. Like, to me, it surprises me that they have so many people that are just able to work out with amber.
I feel like
I don't know.
It might be sort of like, yeah, I worked on it once. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll pay you 30 grenadiers. And they say, that's a steal. Okay, I can work with amber, no problem.
Oh, goodness.
So I think it's kind of like that. Or, you know, they're bringing in somebody very special from one country to sort of like teach, you know, their own, you know, craftsmen to sort of know this piece, this material.
Okay.
So yeah, so these craftsmen are now like they're sculpting it around its new larger surroundings, and they're making continual repairs to this stuff. And the staff constructed a number of amber furniture pieces and small objects to furnish the room. So they're adding like art pieces and all this other like weird furniture and stuff to it. So it's just this like constantly like growing thing. So, also, while there was no formal opening ceremony, researchers and historians agree that the main design and construction, other than conservation and repair, was completed in 1780.
That's a long time working on this thing.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of, like, the pyramids. Of how you would just be like, this is my pyramid where I'm gonna die, and then you would die, and then like 30 years later it would get finished.
Yeah, well, this is one room compared to a masterpiece. Like, well, this is a masterpiece, but I mean like a huge pyramid.
Yeah.
This is just one room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One room. Good point. Yeah, you kind of just took my thingy and were like, Kendra, that's stupid.
No.
No, it is stupid. I'm just like, a pyramid is equivalent to this teeny tiny little 500 square foot room.
No. Well, it's still like the same concept, right? Because like even the first Friedrich that wanted this room in the first place, he passed away long before this was even halfway completed.
Like 60-something years.
Yeah.
So this took like 73 years for this project to be finished.
That's insane. It's like when you have a son that's born, grows up in the trade, and then finishes it for you after you retire or you pass away. Like, that's what this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the room covered more than 590 square feet and was adorned with, this was crazy to me, over 6 tons of amber.
Whew. That's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a lot of elephants. So,
where did elephants come into this?
I don't know. Whenever I think of a ton, I always think of an elephant.
Okay.
And I don't know why.
Okay.
So estimates have placed its modern day worth somewhere between 120 to 240 pounds. Million pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like the same thing in US dollars, basically, right? Yeah.
Pretty close. It's like,
pretty close.
I think it's like $1 and a nickel or something like that.
Yeah, like weird. Like our stuff is greater by $1 and a nickel. Ooh, USA.
Nickel. Yeah.
So back to the room. The room remained a Russian treasure throughout the 18th and 19th centuries and even survived the revolution in 1917. So if you don't know a lot about the Russian Revolution, basically there was an uprising from, the communists, and they shot and killed, all the royal people and the family, and kind of just tried to destroy the old Russia to create this new Russia, but somehow the Amber Room survived.
That was the Romanovs, right? Or the
Yes, that they killed. So
okay.
Anastasia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Princess Anastasia, if you know that sort of mystery. Yeah, that's her people. So the palace was then turned into a museum, and the room remained intact, though not on public display. And so during this time, conservation efforts were minimal because, they were like,
it's royal. Like, we don't really care anymore, kind of.
Well, yeah, they're like, it's, we're anti-dad. Out with the old ways, in with the new ways. Okay. We're communists, baby. We don't care about Amber.
Okay.
So, with the invasion by 3 million, so we're flash forwarding for a very long time, okay? This thing is getting neglected, it's neglected, it's just sitting in this room collecting dust, it's not on public display, whatever. Sad. So flash forward many decades to 1941. So with the invasion by 3 million German troops in the summer of 1941, Soviet officials began evacuating palace treasures east toward Siberia. So they were smart. As Hitler's forces closed in on St. Petersburg, it was then changed to Leningrad after their leader, founder Lenin. So, again, named after himself.
Yeah.
Always. So, as part of Operation Barbarossa, that was the Nazis' operation, it was called Operation Barbarossa. I always think of the pirate Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, That's what I was thinking. It's like, that
And
doesn't
I'm
quite
like,
fit, but okay, whatever.
it kind of seems too tropical for Russia. Barbosa?
Cold place to tropical, yes. Okay, fits.
Unless you say Barbarossa. Do you think it's Barbarossa?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's Barbarossa. Is
Okay.
it Barbara? Whatever, I'm gonna say Barbosa, I don't care.
Barbosa.
I love Pirates of the Caribbean.
Same.
Okay.
I got a
So-
jar. I got a jar. You never guess what's inside it.
the worst pirate I have ever heard of. But you have heard of me, haven't you? I'm gonna
Love
watch
it
those
so
movies this
much.
weekend.
That's
Such
great.
great movies.
I love them. They need to make
Never
another
remake them. I don't know what. But I'll do something, and it will be dramatic and very blown out of proportion.
They just had the Run Disney thing, where basically you run through the Disney parks or whatever. And so there's someone that was dressed up as Captain Jack Sparrow, and someone handed him like a little Captain Morgan like shooter. What is it called? Like a little
Yes,
that's
a
what
little
they're called,
shooter.
right? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got it.
So they crossed out Morgan and put Jack, so it says Captain Jack. And they handed it to him. He does the Jack Sparrow run away.
Yes! Was the runner carrying a jar of dirt or no?
No, but that was
Missed
funny.
opportunity.
I know that'd be heavy though for after a few
Oh,
miles.
I
It's
would
so
chuck
heavy.
it. I'd have to drop it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do
No.
that, but you know.
he ran in the
Anyways,
suit.
back to Operation Barbosa with the Nazis coming into Russia. Okay, so head art curator Anatoly Chuchumov was tasked with taking the precious amber room apart and prepping it for safe removal to the east. So, the curators of the amber room attempted to disassemble and evacuate the panels for safekeeping because, you know, it's a priceless piece of art, right?
Mhm.
But the years had made the amber very brittle, and the pieces crumbled easily, forcing the curators to abandon the effort. So, instead, they covered the room with wallpaper, attempting to disguise the amber.
Because of course they did. That works.
So they just were like, I don't know. Shoot.
We give up. Just
Yeah.
cover it up.
I just imagine like it was like starting to like peel back too. Like it was it was so
Yeah.
poorly done and like rushed that
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like just obvious, and they were like,
You
the
just walk
Nazis
in
were
the
like, "Are
room
you
and you're like-
joking?" They're like, "This is who we're really."
Yeah. They're like, wait, what is that? Nope. Look at this monkey on the wall. Nope. Distraction. Glitter.
And it was like, wait a second, why is this pattern upside down?
This one panel of
Yeah.
pattern is upside down.
It's just so badly, just so rushed, so
Yeah.
sad, so
Mhm.
sad. So by September 1941, the German army had advanced to the outskirts of Leningrad and occupied Pushkin. Isn't that cute? Pushkin.
Pushkin.
Oh, little Pushkin.
It's like Pushkin, the cat.
Pushkin pie. You seen that that lady on the TikTok or whatever? See, I don't have TikTok, but I know her. Where she
What
goes,
lady?
pink pie. Give me my pink pie. She can't say pumpkin pie, so she's like pinkin.
I don't
It's just
think
like,
I've seen that, but okay.
really?
Uh-uh.
I'll send it to you later. Why do I know a TikTok and you don't? This is
I
just.
know.
I gotta look in the mirror later. Okay.
You just brought some red hairs. Yeah.
Pink pie. So Pushkin pie. So back to Pushkin, Russia. Okay, so and the Catherine Palace. So the Amber Room was a priority for removal because it had been included in the Kummel Report. So the Kummel Report is a list of German-made artworks that were to be, taken back to German soil, basically stolen back to German soil.
Okay. Oh,
So the
did find-
German army.
Sorry.
Would you say something?
So I found Barbosa. Apparently, he was a Roman emperor. Friedrich. Friedrich Barbosa was a Roman emperor.
Interesting. Okay.
So that might
One
have
of
been
the
why they picked
lesser
the
known
name.
ones.
Yeah, I don't know. He has a gold statue of him or gold bust of him. So
But so do I.
You do? Oh, yeah.
No.
You.
But I could get one easily.
Okay.
So, okay, so the Kummel Report, again, just a list of German-made artworks that they wanted to get taken back to Germany. So the German army dismantled the room panels and decorations within 36 hours. They basically found it right away. It wasn't that hard to find. So
No.
somehow they were able to dismantle the room panels within 36 hours, packing
These
it
other
into...
people?
Yeah,
What?
instead... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the art curators were like... They're like, well, guess I'll die. Remember that meme with the old guy just like shrugging like, eh.
Yeah. Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And before you're like, well, Kendra, how do you know that the Nazis didn't just like destroy it all? Like, you know, it's just like in pieces.
Mhm.
Well, they were able to pack it in 27 crates. So I feel like most of it was saved. Or, you know, not saved, but you know.
Like dumped in a lake somewhere. Yeah. Some.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they took it down 36 hours, packed it into 27 crates, and then it was shipped by rail to Königsberg, where it was reassembled and displayed in the city's castle. So that's another like weird thing in World War II that the Nazis did, is they're taking all this like art and they're shoving it into all these like old dingy castles, and that's where the stuff is like staying.
I guess like where else do you put it that it's not gonna get touched, really?
I mean, that's true, but like they definitely, you know, leaned into that they were villains, and they're like, our villainous lair
Yeah.
is a castle.
Yeah, very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cliche.
Mm-hmm. So 2 years later, so that's how long it was in display. For 2 years. Yeah.
Dang.
So museum director Dr. Alfred Rode was ordered to dismantle the room again and create it in the event that the British or US bombers would attack the city. So,
I mean-
we don't know if he put wallpaper on it. Probably
Just
not.
slap some wallpaper on it again.
Again.
That'll protect it.
You know, they won't find it this way.
Oh.
So,
You foiled my plans again. Dang it.
so the room panels were last seen January 12th, 1945, when Dr. Rode wrote that the amber panels were being created, quote, as soon as it is done, I shall evacuate the panels to Welschleberg. Oh my lord, why are these German names so horrible? Welschleberg. It's all like sounds.
It is. Yeah, that's what German is. So
And zitzens and yeah, I don't like it. No offense. I don't even know if they like it. So yeah, so it's going to this Weschelberg near Roxlitz in Saxon. So by then, the Allied air raids on Königsberg had already begun. Though the castle had remained intact, the air raids eventually destroyed most of Königsberg Castle, leaving the outer walls and some battlements. So, in the spring of 1945, Soviet troops advanced into the city and leveled the remainder of the castle. Immediately following the war, the Soviet government made finding the Amber Room a priority. It seized the territory of East Prussia as a Russian province, including Königsberg, renamed Kaliningrad. So who's
it Kaliningrad?
Maybe it's Kaliningrad?
I think it's Kaliningrad.
Who's that named after?
Stephen Collin. I don't know.
So yeah, so now Königsberg is Kaliningrad.
Okay.
This is happens in 1946. And soon afterward, dispatched a group of investigators to search the ruins of the castle. So they located several items of furniture from the Catherine Palace. So if you remember, the Catherine Palace is where the Amber Room was.
Originally, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the following year, after they find some furniture from Catherine Palace, in the cellar of the castle, they purportedly discovered the burnt remains of the 3 out of 4 Florentine mosaics that had been in the Amber Room.
Ah.
Yeah. So, the Amber Room was nowhere to be seen, and its final resting place is still a mystery to this day.
Does amber burn?
I think it, like, cracks. I don't know. I don't have any to, put over a match. I would assume it would, right? Maybe? I don't know. Who knows? Someone do it. Some of the listeners do it and email us back and see tell us what happens.
Some spare, expensive amber, burn it.
Yeah.
Oh, it says it tends to burn. Okay, burn rather than melt. So.
Okay.
So it's a melting point range. So it melts between 200 and 380 degrees Celsius.
Oh.
So it says it will burn away like incense. So it's possible it could have been burned with all these mosaics.
I wonder what it smells like.
I
I just went to candles right away. I was like,
Like they advertise scents like as amber and amber wood or whatever. So yeah.
I don't know either. But anyway, now back to the theories that we like to talk about on this podcast.
Yes.
So, while there have been numerous theories about the fate of the Amber Room, the only certainty is that it disappeared between the time of the German invasion in 1941 and the arrival of the Soviet troops in Königsberg in 1945. So Erich Koch, the SS commander, so a Nazi, who had ordered the removal of the amber panels from the city, reportedly led a group of Russian officials on a search during the 1950s, but failed to find them. He died not in 1800s. Oh my lord, he traveled back and then died. He died in 1986 without ever providing additional information. So, in 1967, the Soviet government formed a commission to systematically search known art repositories in the USSR and Germany for the Amber Room panels. The commission continued the search until 1984, 5 years after the decision was made to recreate the room. So they did recreate the room. I didn't really do much research on that because it kind of bored me. You can look it up.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it kind of is interesting because they only had a certain amount of original scraps that they found and or photos and or drawings of the room to try and recreate it. So I guess that's kind of interesting, but I'm more interested in the original.
Yeah. Did they use amber again? Or was it
They did.
Synthetic? Oh, they did. Wow. Okay.
Wait, I'm lying. I don't know. You have to look that up. I don't know.
Okay, hold on.
I'd hope so. So, okay, back to when we pause. Should we pause for Google?
Yeah, just a second. I lied.
I lied. I don't know. I think so. Why else make it?
Okay, so it says that the more than 2 decades of work that went into restoring the masterpiece was an enormous undertaking. The only pictures that existed of the Amber Room were in black and white, so in order to achieve the right tones, the craftsmen were obliged to photograph their shards of amber, then painstakingly compare the shades to the original photos until the match was perfect. That's so much detail and work.
It's 350 shades of amber in the original room.
Can you imagine how much time that took just to recreate the exact shades or tones of this? That's insane.
It took 24 years. Man, I should have done more research into the replica. It's really interesting.
It kind of is, yeah.
Then I was like, it's stupid.
So it says that capturing the varying levels of the layered amber and the etchings was more difficult. The Leningrad Institute for Mining and Geomechanics provided the answer by creating spatial images using a special technique called photogrammetry.
That sounds made up.
Well, it is. It's a new word.
Oh.
You gotta make up your own word.
But they could have made it sound more legit. Photo. It's called photogrammetry.
Yes.
It was made up.
So this photogrammetry showed the heights and the depths of the amber up to less than a millimeter. So it kind of made a topographical map of the room. That's pretty cool. So you could see the depths and made it a lot easier for the carvings and stuff to be recreated. So
neat.
What?
I said that is pretty neat.
Yeah, so it's instead of mountains, topographical maps, the mountains and stuff, they use that to recreate the etchings. That's pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
I should have looked into it more. Oh well.
Oh well.
Another day.
Yes.
Okay, where was I? Oh yes, here we go.
I think it's...
So most historians believe that the Amber Room was destroyed by Allied bombing raids on the castle after January 1945, or the subsequent Russian invasion and shelling of the city. I should just say destruction of the city.
Both.
So one museum conservator, an amber expert, noted that the panels, if ever discovered, would be too deteriorated to be of any use today.
Just because it's so old?
Just because, like, it has been through so much crap. Like,
Sure,
so much
yeah.
stuff that it would just... They would be so deteriorated.
Well, like, even if you didn't hang it up in its original state, it'd be still super cool just to have, like, pieces of it, just to see, like, side by side next to the recreation.
I think they
Yeah.
found, like, little, like, teeny pieces of it.
Oh, okay.
But not, like, you know,
The
more.
whole thing.
Like, just, like, little scraps.
Okay.
Little tidbits. So, in the years that followed, theory after theory arose. Eyewitnesses claimed to have seen the Amber Room being packaged up and placed on board the Wilhelm Gustloff, very German, a
Mhm.
German transport ship,
That's
which was subsequently sunk in January of 1945 by a Soviet submarine. Its wreckage, however, has been dived many times and nothing linked to the Amber Room has ever been discovered there. The KGB, which is kind of like the FBI or CIA of Russia, conducted thorough investigations around Königsberg, leading many to believe the artwork lay hidden under the city in its labyrinth of tunnels and chambers. Again, nothing has ever been found there, and other claims place the room in old salt mines on the Czech border, sunk in a lagoon in Lithuania, and even stripped down and shipped off to the US. The most absurd states that Stalin had a fake Amber Room constructed, so the Nazis never even got their hands on the real thing.
I mean...
But they don't even know where the real thing is, and they're like spending all this money to go look for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, where is it?
Yeah, I mean, if it was, like, recreated, that would take so much time, too, just to make a fake one.
24 years.
Yeah.
Because they did it.
Yeah. And then to even just cover it up with wallpaper poorly, I mean, that's a lot of work just to protect this such a short amount of time.
Yep.
Yeah. Sadly. Yeah.
Yep. Be funny, you know. He had a fake one constructed, and then they took the fake one.
Yeah, it
was made of chocolate.
Oh, delicious. That's why it burned.
Butterscotch. No, it was butterscotch.
Yeah. That matches more.
Yeah, that matches more. So, in October 2020, Polish divers from the Baltic Tech Group found the wreck of the SS Karlsruhe, spelled Karlsruhe, a ship which took part in Operation Hannibal, a sea evacuation which allowed more than 1 million German troops and civilians from East Prussia to escape advancing Soviet forces. So, the ship was attacked off the coast of Poland by Soviet aircraft after it sailed from Königsberg in 1945. The wreck holds many crates with unknown contents. An online news website, Live Science, reports that this German steamship may hold crates that contain parts of the Amber Room, but we don't know. So, yeah, we don't really know what happened to it. I think it got blown up.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if they found the burnt mosaics and stuff, and if amber does burn, like, incense, like that one article told me, like, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, because weren't they destroying paintings, too? Just
burning,
stuff
yeah. You can't have it, we can't have, yeah. We can't have it, you can't have it either. Basically, sort of thing.
If they burn priceless paintings, it doesn't surprise me that they burn all this amber, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, too, with that, wouldn't you find ash or something?
I'm sure they did. The whole city got blown to bits.
Sure. So yeah, that's kind of sadly what I think happened. I think the just burned it.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't think that. And this sort of thing kind of... many people have dealt with the Amber Room have sort of met untimely deaths. So the kind of the curse of the Amber Room has been floating around.
It's Frederick. He says if I cannot have it, you cannot. The original one, not the... I'm not like my daddy one.
The first, not the I hate my daddy. Not the anti-dad? Okay. Yeah. Okay, the first. Thank you for clarifying, Ghost of Friedrich.
Yeah.
Okay, so the German museum director, Alfred Rode, who was so entranced by the Amber Room, he would sit staring at the glowing beaded jewelry panels for hours. So later the KGB questioned him about its fate, but he wasn't talking. One night, he and his wife suddenly died from an attack of typhus. However, when the Russians went to see the bodies, they had disappeared.
Ew, I don't like that.
Ooh. So,
Ooh.
one Russian intelligence officer served as a source for a journalist who was investigating the room not long after he died in a terrible car crash.
Is this just one of those things that's a big cover-up, so like it exists somewhere, they figure out too close to where it's at, and then they're like, nope, you're too close, bye.
Maybe. I don't know. This one is... Okay, this next one is really creepy.
Are we in danger? Are we?
No, we're fine.
Okay.
I'm not even German. I'm fine. So this one is really creepy. So George Stein is perhaps the most... This is the most convincing one and frightening.
Okay.
So that the curse is real. He was a dedicated amber room hunter, and one day he was found dead in the middle of a Bavarian forest, so in Germany. He was naked and his stomach had been opened with a scalpel.
Ew, no. No.
Yeah.
Ew.
And last, Ivan Satov, the current director of the Russian Catherine Palace Museum, doesn't like to indulge in theories, but even Satov has said, quote, "The people who have concealed the Amber Room may be members of a closed circle, and anyone who comes too close to the circle will die." You know, so maybe George Stein was getting too close to finding it, or, you know, getting answers. We don't know.
See, that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
It's a mystery.
Ugh.
Just like what happened to the Amber Room is a mystery. We'll never know.
Why
lost
would
to
his
history.
stomach be cut open? Did he swallow some amber or something? Like, did he get so close he ate it? What?
What a nice thought. I bet if...
Well.
No, I don't think that's what happened.
Okay.
So some sources that I used, the history and reconstruction of the Amber Room at www.gia.edu.com, history.uk.co, the mystery of the Amber Room, smithsonianmagazine.com, swcreations.net, and of course, fan favorite, wikipedia.com.
Oh yes, we love Wikipedia.
We love a good Wikipedia.
Yes.
We don't give money to them, but, you know, we do love them.
Yeah. Oh, man. Maybe we should just give $1. Once we get paid, we'll donate.
Yeah. They're the top of the list.
There you go. I think it'd be kind of cool. Isn't the reconstruction in Russia right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say it'd be fun to go look at it, but not current
I'm good right
circumstances.
now.
Yeah. We're gonna wait for quite a
Until
while.
their current, you know, government situation gets cleared up and, you know.
Yeah.
Really sad.
It is.
Because Russia has, like, a lot of really cool, like, you know, culture. They're, you know, huge with ballet, composers, all these, like, chess master people come from there. Very, like, famous artists, you know. Architecture, they got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. And like I said too, it's like it's not all of Russia that's, to me, in most of the world, in the wrong. It's, you know, it's the few people that
it's the
ruined
people in
it for
power.
everybody.
Yeah. That's how it is for, like, anywhere. It's, you know, it's not the majority, it's just the people in power that has, you know, their thumb over the little guys.
Yeah. All right, Wanderers, thank you so much for listening to another Foolish Wanderers podcast. We hope you enjoyed this little mystery of the Amber Room. If you have any suggestions or any ideas of what may have happened to the Amber Room, I'd love to hear from you guys. Please feel free to email us at fwplisteners@gmail.com.
And as always, new episodes of the FWP are released weekly from wherever you get your podcasts from, including this place that you're listening to right now. And if you'd like, we would really appreciate it if you leave us a 5-star review. It helps us get discovered more easily, and then, you know, more listeners can come hang out with us.
Yeah. All right, Wanderers, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next time.